Good morning. It's been a tumultuous night here in the Greater Kruger National Park. Lions have just been calling to the south of us. We heard a buffalo moaning deeply during the night and hoping perhaps, well, not for his sake, but for our sake, that perhaps he's been attacked by the lions that are calling now. We've been out. We got out a bit earlier today to see if we can't find them. Nothing yet. Brent is on some other tracks. He is driving around with Andrew at the moment. I have got the inimitable Djuma behind us, who was doing a lot of fixing of things yesterday. And in the control room we have Tara, warm and snug with a cup of coffee and about 7 radios in her hands. Don't know how she does that, really. So it's a beautiful morning here. It's much warmer than it was yesterday, probably sitting at around 14 or 15 degrees Celsius, which I think sits at around 69 degrees, no, about 60 degrees Fahrenheit. And our plan today is to head out and just circle this area and see if we can't come up with the tracks of some lions, and yeah, we'll see what goes on from there. So we're going to go off to the south and then to the west, yes, west, and see what we can find. And please remember, any questions you have, hashtag Safari Live or questions at WildEarthTV if you're on the email. And we'd love to hear from you. We love your questions, especially in the morning. It helps warm our brains up and just generates a great conversation. And you're so good at doing that. And we got lions audio. Okay, we're going to move now. Do hope that's not off the reserve. Right, let's get on with it. Well heard, Liam. If you're a new viewer, you're especially welcome. Right, lions, here we come. I'm not sure if you heard them or not. Sounds like a male calling. We had tracks of a male and a female just earlier. We're a little bit far from here. The lion's call will of course travel up to 5 kilometers in the night, especially on a clear night with a bit of moisture in the air. Shot if you see anything. We'll just go along to the next clearing here and turn off, and then we'll have another listen. I think you've got an idea of where that was coming from. Keep a lookout for tracks on the road. A lot of questions over the last few days about the speed at which we drive and how fast can we drive. At the moment we're doing about 15 kilometers an hour, which is not very fast, but it will look quite fast to you on your screens. I was hoping they were going to pop out somewhere around here where we are now. Looking for tracks. We do know those are lots of hyena tracks everywhere. Plenty of, here we got lion tracks on the road now. Unfortunately, this is our southern boundary. Lion tracks going along here. Going in and out. You see any there of them going across there? Looks like they crossed. I'm afraid the sadness is that they have, looks like they've crossed over our boundary. Oh, that's very, very sad. We're just going to sit here briefly and have a quick listen and see if they don't call again. There you can see the tracks, and that's pointing in a due southerly direction, which of course is entirely selfish of any lion that we want to see. So I'm just going to sit here for 20 seconds and see if we don't hear them again. I'll tell you what else we can hear. Lots of francolins again. Grey louries. Some brown-headed parrots. The ubiquitous southern grey-headed sparrow. But I'm afraid no lions. Well, the luck has not been with Jiga over the last 2 days. So what I suspect happened is they tried to kill one of those buffalo. Remember, there was quite close to here a few days ago, we saw a herd of bachelor bulls and a cow and a very young calf. And I suspect that what happened was those lions probably tried to get that calf last night, and if they are not here anymore, they wouldn't have finished it in a night. So I suspect those bulls probably chased him off. And we had a great question about how would the bulls protect the calf? Unusual situation where there's only one cow and one calf in a little herd like that, and would they protect the calf? And I said not directly, you know, they wouldn't necessarily surround the calf, but they'd certainly chase off any predators. And I suspect, oh, here we go, lion, on the road, coming straight towards us. Big black-maned lion. I'm going to sit right here and not move. Let's just see him come down here. They often call, he is calling, he's contact calling. Isn't that wonderful? Here comes the king. We're right on the southern boundary. So this road is the southern boundary. And there's another lion actually contact calling just north of us. They're calling north of us. We're going to follow him. We're going to follow that lion. He's definitely gone north. Maybe these tracks went in and out of the reserve last night. So they're definitely, he's running now. They may be on a kill. This is most exciting, especially after the day of eating trees yesterday. Right, there he is. observations. One male lion mobile north from southern boundary towards Treehouse Dam. Others contact calling from the same area. But hold on tight, everybody. Liam, put your seatbelt on. That's actually a young male. Doesn't have a full mane yet, so that's fascinating. Just try and get around him a bit. He's definitely following up on the contact calls from another male or from another animal. Heading to roundabout where I thought they had been calling from. Sorry, you'll have to excuse the jerkiness. He's moving relatively fast. He's also got a very fat pot belly on him, which looks like he's supped on something last night. Try and get a decent shot of him fairly soon. Perfectly colored. If I do have to go onto the radio, I'm sorry. We just need to help the other rangers get in as they do for us. There you can see him walking through there. He's definitely walking with a purpose, which lions don't often do unless there's some meat in the offing. Put your head here, Djuma. Whoops, sorry about that. I missed that rather enormous stump on the bush, on the ground. Here he is. He's coming through straight in front of us. You can see how he's just totally unaffected by us driving through here. That's the advantage of being the apex predator. You can see it just melts into this color. Negative animal mobile north from southern cut line towards look on the top, that's the east of Treehouse Dam. Ooh, that thing's gonna punch us in the face. Hold on tight. He's following a very well-worn game path here. There's the other lion. Look at that. There's another lioness. That's definitely got, looks like blood on her. Oh, look at that. They've definitely got blood on the nose. It's a young male. I don't know who these are. There are more just off to the side. She's got very orange eyes. She might be the orange-eyed lion from the Nkuhuma pride, I'm not sure. Definitely lots more call, or 2 or 3 more calling. I have to say my heart rate has gone up somewhat. That's spectacular. Okay, we're going to go across to Brent. He's found a leopard. We'll see you right now.
Welcome, guys. Sorry, we're just going through some thick bush, and just disappearing in front of me is a female leopard. I haven't had a good look at her yet. I think it could be Shadow, but she's about to go into a Timbreti thicket, and I'm going to try my best to stay with her, but I might have to move out and go around this thick area to try find her on the other side. And I hear you've been having an amazing time with James and with those big male lions, so we're just going to give you a quick look at her. Move forward a little bit, moving. There she disappears. So we're just going to stay with her for a couple of minutes while we have her, and then we'll go back to James and those lions very soon, and I will try to stay with her and move around this really thick area. You can see how well that camouflage works. It's amazing. I think she's heard something, that's why she stopped. So we came into the area where I had those tracks yesterday, and as we were driving, spotted her at about 200 meters. I just saw the white tip of her tail disappearing into the bush. I got very excited and had to drive a safari to catch up with her. So she's going to disappear. We're going to try stay with her, and then we're going to send you back. We're going to send you back to James now and those lions. But what a great morning, guys. Sorry, I forgot to say my name is Brent. I've got Andrew on camera. But lion and leopard already, and we haven't got started. We're going to try to go around the other side and see where she comes out. But in the meantime, we're going to go back to James, and we'll be back with you, hopefully still with Shadow, a little later.
Hello everybody, welcome back. They are moving up and down this road. All action happening today. Sorry, excuse me a second, I just need to be on the radio briefly. Aubrey, you need to come to the east of Treehouse Dam, I think on the road that joins with the Philemon's cut line. There are a few around here. They're contact calling, walking all over the place. Aubrey, we are not north. We are not north of Treehouse Dam. It sounds like we are south of Treehouse Dam. She's got blood all over her mouth. Isn't that beautiful? I don't know who these lions are. We're just going to stay with her for now. The male's obviously gone off. Oh, look at this. They've spotted something. They've definitely eaten last night. In fact, they've definitely eaten fairly recently. I'm just going to wait here, not move just yet, just to see what happens. How or why this pride got separated is really difficult to say. I'm going to follow the females. The young male is behind us somewhere. I'm pretty sure this isn't the Nkuhuma pride. I mean, I think it's unlikely. Ooh, here we go. We've spotted something up ahead. And there are more lions calling from up ahead. Oh, look, there's another lion coming. There's another lioness coming.
Behind us.
And another lion behind us. Look at this, watch this. Isn't that wonderful? So a bit of speculation that this could be Junior, and the orange-eyed lioness could be the sort of senior lioness from the Nkuhuma pride. I think that's pretty good speculation. I'm not sure where the young male's gone. These lions are now 10 feet from me. And this orange-eyed girl was eyeing me out earlier. Oh, this is just a most glorious morning now. Just going to reposition slightly so that the vehicle behind us can get a good look. There are two more lions coming behind us.
I've got enough lions for themselves.
Okay. Wilm says they've got enough lions behind us for us not to worry. So we'll stop here. So we've now got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 females. The two just coming up behind us are 2 sub-adults.
I'd want to turn.
I'm just going to turn slightly. It does look like them. They're all just contact calling, even though they're close by each other. There's another lion calling to the south, way to the south. I can only just hear it. So you can see it looks to me like their blood is up. You know, they've had a night of hunting. They've definitely eaten. You can see the scraggly youngsters yet again have struggled to manipulate any form of the kill. But they still have eaten. So they'll put some condition on. Just a beautiful sight, that of lions walking down the road in the morning. Not sure where the young male's gone. Hello, Patty in Michigan. I really love this question. Thank you for it. You want to know, basically you've been told that lions don't see individuals on a vehicle, they only see the outline. But you noticed that lioness, that one of the orange eyes was staring right at me. And that's exactly what it felt like. It felt like she was looking into my soul, as you say. I am not a believer necessarily that they don't recognize us. I mean, as a friend of mine once said, a leopard or a lion can recognize a monkey's ear sticking out from behind a tree. So to say that they don't know what we are I just don't buy it. If we're sitting in a tree, they know what we are. So I just think that they don't associate us the same way as if we're away from the vehicle on foot. So yes, I do believe they recognize us as human beings. Whether they make that association or not, I'm not sure. But I tell you what I do think is that and I don't know if she recognized me as an individual. I can smell the blood on them now. It's a strong smell of sort of carrion. They are heading south. So whether she recognized me as an individual, I don't know. Well, one would like to think so, but who knows? Very lovely question. Go, a bit of play acting. Hello, Yvonne. You say that they look like they're behaving slightly differently to me than they have before. I think it's because their blood is up. I don't think that it's I don't think that it's because they necessarily are behaving in a different way. And by their blood is up, I mean they've eaten, they've hunted, and they're just full of adrenaline, and they're now full of meat. And I wish I could describe the smell to you. They smell like the inside of an animal. And they look to be crossing south, which is a bit sad. They basically smell like my first year zoology dissection laboratory. So they've had their mouths right in the guts of something last night. And that's why I think you're noticing a difference in behavior, Yvonne. They often talk about men who've been in a fight, or sportsmen being in or having their blood up. And that's what's going on here. Now, unfortunately, this is the southern boundary, and that's where they're going. This can't be the Nkuhuma pride. Maybe, I don't know if any of the viewers have seen whether or not the Nkuhuma pride has ever gone south of us or not. From what I understood, they were sort of mainly north of us. Pride is now crossing south over Gari Main into Little Gari. So unfortunately we can't follow them through there, but we'll stay with the remainder. What a beautiful sighting. Well, I'm afraid, people, that's pretty much it for these chaps. What I'm going to try and do is go back inside there and see if we can't find the young male and perhaps find what they've killed. Amingangeli. Oh. Sor. Shatika. Agunamal. Hello, Elizabeth in Minneapolis. Another nice question. We want to know, would the animals react a little differently if somebody stood up in the vehicle? You don't have a picture of Viam, but Viam is pretty much, I mean, if he's pretty exposed on the back, and a lot of the vehicles here, they don't put the trackers inside when they go to a lion sighting, so there's a person sitting right on the front of the vehicle, and they're pretty exposed. So, you know, for a long time I was told, and we always told our guests, don't stand up in the vehicle, and I mean, to a large extent, there are very good reasons for that. Do they then suddenly react? No, I don't believe they do. Not if they're habituated to vehicles. So if Viam stood up, Viam's moving around like a jack-in-the-box on the back of the vehicle to try and get good pictures. And I don't think lions that are habituated to vehicles actually react that much to us in the vehicle. Very different on foot. They will normally run. So we'll see if we can't find the male. I suspect he'll cross probably just behind them. Hello, Rosie B. Thank you for your question. We had today, you want a recap of what we saw, sort of the demographics, as we looked at that beautiful shot of the dust in the rising African sun. We saw 4 adult females, 2 sub-adults, and 1 young male. And then we've got another female with the male on the road here. Hello, Edward. You want to know if the smell that I'm getting is something like that in a slaughterhouse. I've never been to a slaughterhouse, but I have, we've got the lions to the left, but I have smelt the innards of a sort of freshly butchered animal, and that's exactly what it smells like. Not very pleasant for this time in the morning. So to recap for you, Rosie B, it looks like 7 lionesses and the young male. So definitely the Nkuhuma pride. Hello, Shanae and Susie. You want to know, you say, if they've just made a kill, why aren't they with it? Very good question, to which there is, to my mind, only one answer, and that's that they've finished it. I wonder if that young buffalo didn't cop it quite badly last night, and they may have finished it during the course of the night. I mean, that Brent heard the noises at around 9:30, so they may well have just finished it off during the course of the night. Now, cleaning the face, just like a house cat, covered in sort of offal and blood. Squirrels going insane. I'm sure that's because, there's Viam. Just look to the right here. There's another lioness just lurking to the right there that we didn't see, or that I didn't see. Beautifully framed by the colors of this perfect winter solstice African morning. There are a whole lot of squirrels going absolutely ballistic just to the north of us. Oh, look at that. Beautiful colors. I think we'll head back to the male now. He's beautifully lit by the rising sun. So now he's contact calling again. So you can't really hear that, I don't think. He's going... I'm very interested as to how they got separated and how he came to be coming down the road that he was. He was a long way from the pride. Hello, Dave in Toronto. Good morning and welcome to the morning drive. You want to know, you've heard that lions kill each rivals and then will sometimes eat them and sometimes not eat them, and what would cause them to eat them or not eat them. Difficult to say. They definitely do sometimes eat their rivals. I've seen 3 brothers eat their 4th brother after he died of sort of natural causes. Oh, you can see the cut there. Can you see the cut on his nose? That's from being bashed at the kill by his sisters, cousins and aunts. So Dave, difficult to say what the conditions are under which they will eat a rival. I suspect it's probably as simple as them being hungry or not being hungry. I think if this animal had just eaten like he is now, I don't believe that he would eat another lion, simply because I don't think they taste as good, or they don't seem to, they don't provide the same level of flesh that a herbivore might. But if they're hungry, absolutely they will. It might also just depend on the individual. But it is very difficult to say. Just listen to him calling. Lynn, I believe you have and a few others have been discussing the fact that you call him Tufty. Poor little fellow. He's in that very sensitive, sort of ugly teenager phase. So ideally you need to build him up a bit, Lynn, and not knock him down. Something like, I don't know what we should, I think Junior's probably quite a decent name for him, but he does look a bit tufty, doesn't he? He's got a very scraggly beard. Come past going to the female now. I'm fascinated as to why they haven't gone with the others. I think the big males were calling to the south, possibly the Matimba males, and Junior may well be avoiding that area because of them. And I wonder if they didn't come through here yesterday evening and perhaps chase him off. And that's why he found himself away from the pride. That would be my guess. Hello, Gillian in Iowa. Very nice question. You say, other than the delightful smell of innards and blood that I can smell now on these lions, in the absence of that, do lions have a distinct smell? Well, if you get close enough to them, like if you dart one and get close enough up, you know, I've been that close to a few lions, and I can't ever remember there being a distinct smell from them. I'm sure to the average prey species there probably is, and to each other there definitely is. But to our fairly insensitive noses, not nearly so much as with something like a wild dog, which smells like a wet Labrador. Same with leopards. Hyenas tend to smell quite a lot stronger. They've got a kind of... it's a sort of a pungent, rankish sort of smell that they develop if they're a bit dirty. But lions, no. You know, wild dogs you can almost track from the smell. Not these lions. I'm just going to try. Shall we try and get round them, Viam?
Yep.
So I'm just going to try and move around the other side of them so we can look at their dozing faces. This is where we've tracked the male through. I can see the tracks of our vehicle. We'll just go around. Hello, Maria in Florida, aged 11. Lovely to have you along, budding young naturalist. We love to have the kids asking us questions. You want to know how long have I been doing this? Well, on and off for about 10 years. And was I afraid, or have I been afraid? The answer is yes, I most certainly have been afraid at various stages. This morning, I got to tell you, when that orange-eyed lioness bore down into my soul, I felt a certain twinge. My heart rate definitely went up. Liam started grinning. So yes, we do sometimes feel afraid, but as you get used to it, you get less and less afraid. And that's not because the animals are less scary, but because you know more about how to react around them. Oh dear, I've knocked the aerial down. I've broken the aerial off, sorry about that. we go. Is that all right, Liam?
Yep.
Hello, Ellen, Dia, and Lisa. You want to know what would I have done if I had felt the lioness had got too close? Would I have reacted in the same way some guys do when elephants come too close and shout and make a noise? Yes, that's exactly what I would have done. I got fairly close to just giving the side of the vehicle a little tap to make her kind of jump out of her solid stare in my face. But yeah, if I had felt the situation was going to get out of hand, I would have stood up and started yelling, and hopefully that would have frightened her off. They're not feeling easy, these lions. There's something, may just be the kill. It may be that the males came in. And I'm interested here that there's only one, that these two have let the others go so far south to where what sounded like some calling lions were, well, calling. I wonder if this isn't Junior's mother. No, she can't be. Looks too young. Maybe a sister? Hello, Georgianne in Illinois. Apparently you and a few others have been discussing the possible fate of Junior and what his chances of surviving are in the presence of the Matimbas, a coalition called the Birmingham Coalition, the remnants of the Majingelani Coalition further south of us. And what chances does Junior have of making it to adulthood and dominating a pride on his own? Answer, not very good chances at all. Unfortunately for him, he's been born without brothers. And that means that he must leave this pride, if he does leave the pride, and I mean the likelihood is that he will, he must leave and go off on his own. Now, it's not impossible that if say he meets up with the Birmingham Coalition and they haven't, I don't know how old they are, I don't think they're that old though. If he meets up with them and they are not dominating a territory yet, he may well be able to actually join them and become part of that coalition, especially if they're a sort of similar age to him. But if they're already dominant or starting to chase the other males off, then he's not going to be able to do that. But it's not impossible. It's also not impossible that he will disappear totally from this area. There's something going on there. Can't see. Did hear another contact call. There we go. There's another line coming. The pride is coming back. Just see her through there, Bill. Can you see her? Yeah, pretty much. You stick there, you'll see her just moving in the shadows there. So, to answer Georgianne, in summary, his chances are not great at the moment, but we never know. Hello, Sandra in Georgia. You're also worried about the fate of young Junior and how he found the pride, if it was the Matimbas that chased him off last night, he would have come back to where they were. They wouldn't have gone looking for him. So when we found him, he was coming to find them. And I'm pretty sure that they killed somewhere around that waterhole this morning. The other pride is definitely coming up now. Or the rest of the pride, certainly one of them. So Sandra, yeah, they wouldn't go looking for him. He'd have to come and find them. They're just walking through this bush, making contact calls. I've never seen them behave like this. Junior's up. No, they're not contacting her. They're standing and looking. And she's calling. Just see if you can hear her. Ooh, that's what she's doing. That was me, not her. And these two are not calling back. But Junior is standing very obviously. There we go, now they're walking towards her. Hello, Charlie. You want to know, with my experience, have I ever been with so many lions before? Yes, I have. Charlie, the most I've ever been with in one place is about 30. We had a huge pride where I used to work at a place called Ngala, not too far from here. And there was a pride at one stage called the Johnny'sdale Pride, and they were about 30 lions strong. Now just look at the beautiful way you can hardly see that other lioness there. Look at her coming through the bush there. Oh, that's a wonderful picture. And this female going into a very stalking pose. Just, it's very playful. The black tail flicking. Now look at the size of the belly on the lioness coming towards us. They have absolutely feasted themselves last night. Her face is covered in gore. Her shoulders are covered in gore. She's had her head right in the bowels of some hapless animal. I very much suspect either the buffalo cow or the calf. Or maybe the young, maybe that yearling. Except I don't think they would have finished the yearling in a night. I can't explain this level of movement, but for the fact that something has got them a little bit stressed and worried about what's going on. No, really. And you can see the fresh blood on the top of her nose there, and that's from one of her rest of her pride who've smacked her on the head as they've fed. Now coming to join old Junior. They'll go back to whatever it was they ate, remnants of it. That would be quite nice to see. So we'll follow them along. I'm just going to go out onto the road, Djuma. I think that's where they'll come. Hello, Sandy in New York. A lovely question. You want to know, do lions act differently after eating a kill? The answer is yes, they do, but normally not like this. Normally what they'll do is lie down, possibly sometimes in their own excrement, and do nothing, and just for hours and hours and hours, and then they'll go back and maybe feed a bit more and do the same. I've seen a lioness asleep with her head inside the bowels of a giraffe. So this behavior to me is an indication that something has unsettled them, and I can only think that must have been the infiltration of some other males, some strange males, possibly not the Matimba males, possibly, and for those who don't know, the Matimba males are the sort of two dominant males of this area at the moment. Lovely picture of them going through the bush there. So possibly another coalition that came through. Now get a shot of Junior there. Junior's exhibiting something there called phlegmon. He's obviously doing with his head turned away from us, which is a bit irritating of him. Basically what he's doing is he's sniffing, he's checking the females for their receptivity and their estrus state. And if he continues to do that, it can only mean that he's now getting ready to start sort of trying to mate because he's old enough. But that is going to result in his life becoming quite tough, because the big males of the area probably won't tolerate it. You can see how much bigger he is now than his erstwhile pride mates, sisters, cousins and aunts. And he'll get a little bit taller than he is now, but he will also get a lot heavier. So now that smell of carrion is quite strong in the air. I don't know if it's coming off them or perhaps off what they killed. You smell that, Wim? It's not delightful. Hello, Sandy in Indiana. Can a male lion tell if a cub is his or not? Very interesting question. So you've obviously read of the infanticide that takes place when new males take over territory, and you're wanting to know how on earth a male can tell whether the cubs are his or someone else's. And can they smell? Sandy, I am not convinced that they can tell kinship from recognition. I think that the fact that they don't kill females has much more to do, or kill cubs has much more to do with the fact that they have been in and around the area for long enough to know that potential offspring are theirs. And by know, I don't think it's a conscious thought. I think it's just an instinct. So I don't believe that they do recognize by sight, maybe by sight, but I don't think by sight and smell. They spend so little time with the babies as youngsters. I'm really not sure that they do. There may be some kind of kinship smell, but if they do come into a pride and kill the youngsters, they don't it's highly likely that those youngsters will belong to only one father. And so it would be very unusual for them to go into a pride where some of the youngsters were from a previous coalition and some were from theirs, and that they would then sort of separate them out. That wouldn't happen. So this is the water hole, or the drainage line that leads to the water hole where Brent said he thought he heard a buffalo being traumatized by lions last night, and this is where we began our search this morning. So it'd be fascinating to know if they do have a kill here, why they would have left it. We had a question as to why they would have left it if it had been unfinished. I don't know. Something is amiss. Out there, room. Just going to stop here for 1 second and just see what they do, and then I'll reposition. Hello, Derek. You want to know how you identify different lions. Derek, with difficulty. It's not like leopards that have a spot pattern above the whiskers, which is unique to them. So we identify lions in a number of ways. I'm going to follow the male, because I think if there is a kill, I think that's where he's going. Derek, the easiest way is to do it from the pride, so you know which pride is in where, by their territory, etc. And also from the look on their face. So you eventually start to learn where they have different scars, little issues with the ears, chips or bites taken out of the ears, and that sort of thing. But it's not easy, and I mean I've been with a lot of experienced people who have made some very bald-faced calls about what lions they think are what, and it's not easy to tell. This lion will be if he survives another 4 years, he'll be unrecognizable from what he is now. Hello, JJ, an extensive question, a good one. Do I see any injuries on them that could have been caused by something other than sort of normal lion feeding behavior? The answer is I don't. I see pretty much normal, little cuts above the nose, which would come from when they slap each other. Hyenas wouldn't have done that. Elephants could have come through, but they wouldn't have scattered far if elephants had come through, like you have guessed. Hyenas, it would have to be an enormous clan of hyenas to have put these guys off food, and I haven't seen that number of hyenas here yet. So my guess is male lions, and some sort of other lion activity is probably what's causing this. Would you just excuse me 1 second? I must speak on the Game Drive radio. Station's looking for James. Come in. Diana, come in. Are you looking for me? I've got 3 of the Pride on the road south of the drainage line that runs east from Treehouse Dam. So this is the first time again that I've seen the Pride actually separated from each other. I've only ever seen them all together. I'd be fascinated to know if anyone else has seen them split up like this before, and how far south they've been seen before, because this is definitely way further south than I've ever seen them. They're now into kind of the northern parts of the Styx territory, if I'm not mistaken. The Styx pride, for the new viewers, is the pride that sort of dominates the reserves south of us. And they do come onto here every so often, but not and up to this area. We are quite far east for the Styx pride, and maybe that's why they're here. So they may have been, they may have even been disturbed by the Styx females, but I don't think so. The other possibility, of course, is that those males have killed something south of us, and these guys have gone, the rest of the pride has gone across the way there and is sharing the kill because their kill is finished. I mean, I'm really guessing here. The probabilities are very difficult to work out. Go ahead. They just come along the road that runs to the south of Treehouse Dam, parallel with the drainage line in the easterly direction. Not sure what the road name is. Confirm on foot. Not for a long time. Affirmative. And now you can see why and how the carrion will eventually disappear from the faces of these animals. While this is very good for social bonding, it's also, of course, very good for cleaning. Just the last remnants of last night's supper. Nice to lick that off your friend's face. Now, apparently the Birmingham Pride at the moment, or Birmingham males, and Birmingham is the property or reserve just next to where I used to work at Ngala, so it's quite nice to have heard something from me old stomping grounds. They are just north in Buffelshoek at the moment, so there's definitely a bit of action going on, male lion-wise, in the area. So if I was Junior, and fortunately for Junior, he's probably blissfully ignorant of what's going on around him. But if I was him, I'd be fairly skittish. So my postulation is that his days are numbered, but I may be entirely wrong. You never really can tell. The other lioness is having to clean her own face, and she's making quite an effort to do it, just like a house cat might. They've definitely settled down quite a lot now. Much less stressed than they were when we saw them. Hello, Georgianne in Illinois. Two lovely sort of discussion points from your comments. First of all, you say that the Nkuhuma, the Birmingham coalition, is older than young Junior here, so his chances of joining them are diminishing at every second. And you say they're known to be mean and that they've killed one of the Nkuhuma females. Lion behavior generally, Georgianne, is what we might as human beings describe as mean. They are not, while we look at them gently licking each other there, they are completely mercenary about how they behave. They are not known for any kind of nobility, I must say. And the Lion King has given us a completely false sense of their nobility and their sort of kingly virtues. They are very rough characters. They're more like street gangs than they are a royal family. And so that's why the Birmingham Pride or Birmingham Coalition will seem so much meaner than perhaps they might be. All male lions will behave in that way. If they come into an area, they will kill lionesses if the lionesses are, especially if they show them any kind of resistance. And when they're young, and they're not dominating an area, they don't really know how to behave yet. You know, they really are like a street gang of young boys. Compared with the average lion sighting that we have here, this has been just spectacular with him actually doing something. One of them is looking quite closely behind, one who's unfortunately had to bath herself. And I wonder where the rest of the pride are and what they're doing and why they've split up like this. Hello, Steve. You've noticed the panting. You've noticed the panting that the lions sort of engage in. Look at Junior's belly there. And you want to know why. Does it aid in digestion? I'm sure it does, because it oxygenates the blood around the stomach, which in turn helps to absorb the nutrients that the enzymes are busy extracting from the meat meal that they ate last night. The other reason that they pant after they've eaten a lot is that they eat until they literally cannot fit another morsel into their bellies. And that, of course, causes the stomach to push up against the diaphragm and push up against the lungs and reduce the amount of space in the chest cavity. And so the lungs can't expand like they do normally, which makes it very difficult basically it makes them hard. It makes it hard for them to breathe. If you think after an enormous meal, especially something that's quite full of wheat and gluten and that sort of thing. So if you think about an enormous pizza meal that you have and wash it down with 2 pints of beer, you think about how difficult it is to breathe, especially, or how difficult it is to do any exercise after a meal like that, and how you'll pant. And that's a fairly similar thing to what's going on here with these lions. And just sometimes when they eat, they get so full that they don't know what to do with themselves. I've seen them even fuller than old Junior is there now. One of the lionesses is not quite flat yet. She's definitely heard or seen something in and about the area. It might be a bird, it might be the rest of the pride. Definitely some noise behind us. Shirley in Edmonton in Canada, thank you for your your question. You would like to know, what is the worst smelling animal I've ever run across? I'm going to assume you don't mean literally run across, you mean come across. The answer to that is, what would it be? A hyena that's just scent marked is offensively smelly. Lions, like I say, if they're clean, they don't smell too bad at all. Wild dogs tend to smell a bit rank, but sort of wet doggy. But that's not too much of an offensive smell. So I suppose it would have to be the sort of a hyena, and the anal gland scent marking that they make is pretty gross to smell. So that's probably it. The other thing that doesn't smell great is especially after its marking, is a civet. They don't tend to smell wonderful. The smelliest possible animal out here is a striped polecat, and that's like a skunk. And they will definitely, at the slightest provocation, squirt a foul and evil-smelling liquid about the place that will leave you gasping for air and rushing away. But surely, in seriousness, most of the animals will try not to have a strong smell, because obviously that then will attract the attentions of predators or enemies or other things like that. So they like to leave a scent in a place to mark territory, but they very seldom like to actually smell bad themselves. Hello, Terry in Massachusetts. Thank you very much for your update there. You say you have seen, since the November drive started last year, you have seen this pride split up. Two of the sub-adults have split up, junior and another female have split up. So it's not unusual that they do this from time to time. That's fascinating information. Thank you very much for it. I'm still wondering what exactly happened here, though, and why. I suppose now with the heat building like it is, the chances are the rest of the pride will settle down for the rest of the day. Hello, Edward and Carol. You're asking about the black tips to the tail and the black tips to the ears. Very, very nice questions, and it's interesting discussion points. Basically, as far as we know, any unusual thing on the back end of any other animal, so something that can be viewed from behind, is an indication of that it's some sort of following mechanism. Now, there are two colors that do not occur out here very frequently. The one is white and the other is black. Now, I'm talking in the vegetation. So if you look around the vegetation that's surrounding that animal there, you see browns, you see greens, you see grays, and all shades in between. But no white, no pure white color, and no pure black color. Now, if you want to attract the attentions of something, especially if you're a pride of lions and you're on the hunt, that black patch, if you watch them walking through the bush, is actually really obvious. And it would seem to me, and to quite a few others, that the clearest sort of indication for what they're for, that black pom-pom tip tail and the black tips to the ears, that they are a following mechanism, especially for when they're hunting. Now, they hunt largely at night in this area, but if you see in purely black and white, which lions do, as far as we understand, that black actually does stand out. It absorbs more light than a white patch would at night, or any other patch, and so it becomes quite visible if you see it purely in black and white. Now, a leopard has a white tip to its tail, and why it's white and not black, I'm not really sure, except to say that it's definitely also a following mechanism for cubs. It's only the underside of the tail that's white on a leopard, and so when they want to be followed, they stick it up and walk through the bush, and that helps the cubs to follow them. I've also seen them use that tail tip to, when birds start alarm calling around them, they flick it up as almost as if to say, don't worry about me, I'm not coming after you, and it does tend to becalm the bird slightly. So that might be a reason for why it's white. But any kind of following mechanism out here is normally white, or in the case of the lions, pure black. So like I was saying, I'm not sure what else these lions are going to do, and I'm pretty sure that it's getting quite warm now. I mean, it's not getting hot by any stretch, but it's certainly getting warmer. And as we know, lions like to do nothing, and so they are probably, the rest of the pride may well just go down to ground now and rest for much of the rest of the day, and maybe they'll join up later this night. So we're going to head across to Brent. I know that he managed to find that leopard earlier. I know he managed to find it again, but that it disappeared. And if anyone is going to re-find it, it's going to be Brent. So we'll go across to him, and we'll see you a little bit later.
Welcome back, everyone. We are having a slightly troublesome morning. Shadow, a female leopard, is living up to her name at the moment, and all we're seeing is shadows. We saw her again briefly after you were with us, and she looked like she was stalking something in very thick bush. So she disappeared. I heard squirrels alarming this area, so I drove in here, and I've been sitting and listening, and obviously as soon as I got here, the squirrels stopped alarming, but she's definitely in the area. So we're going to do one big loop around here again, and welcome, hopefully, with you guys on the back, you're going to give me a bit of luck, and we'll be able to find her just because you've joined us. That would be very nice. If you are new viewers, welcome. I hear you've been having a fantastic time with James and the Nkuhuma Pride, and we did find a female leopard very briefly this morning, and she went into some very thick bush. We saw her again briefly, and then she looked like she was stalking. Oh. Sorry, just listening for alarm calls. There was a very strange call from a long-tailed shrike. I think it's worth having a look, because this is the same area we heard those squirrels alarming. Try to get back to the road quickly. Where is the bird that was going? So we're going to do a big loop around here. So the last place we saw her is probably where you're looking down this road, probably 300 meters down that road, but she changed her direction and started heading this way. She was moving quite quickly, sort of jogging like she had heard or seen something, and unfortunately some very big Timberwolf thickets that are basically impenetrable with a vehicle that she went into, and that's where we lost her. So fingers crossed you guys are going to bring me some luck and we're going to find her.